Welcome back. It's 5:41 in Your Money this morning. The Federal Reserve says economic growth slowed in nearly half of the country in June and early July as weak home sales and soft labor markets offset a slight boost in consumer spending. Now, that didn't help Wall Street on Wednesday. Neither did the fact that we still don't have a debt ceiling deal. Dow is off more than 1.5%. The S&P down 2%. The Nasdaq was the hardest hit, though. It lost more than 2.5%. The S&P is a benchmark, though, for most mutual funds. It's now down 4% from its recent peak. Peter Tedstrom, a certified financial planner with Brown and Tedstrom here in town, is joining us now in the Information Center. Peter, thanks for coming in early. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Up until this point, we've seen remarkable calm, I think, in the markets. What are you telling your clients, though, about how to get prepared for what's going on in Washington and this whole debt ceiling stalemate?
Well, Greg, first of all, we think that there's not going to be a major issue within the markets. We think that there's a very strong likelihood we'll avoid default. So investors really shouldn't be doing anything other than what they've been doing. They keep their portfolios diversified, stick with their plan. As a matter of fact, if they have cash, we may see a very good buying opportunity here.
Well, you've got an opinion about what kind of deal could be reached in Washington. Tell us about that.
We think that we're going to avoid default, that's an absolute necessity, and the politicians are not going to put us in that kind of a position. However, that neither side feels like they're getting what they want, so I think what we're going to see is a compromise, and a compromise is probably a slight raising of the debt ceiling, maybe $1 to $2 trillion, and that'll put us in a position where we can continue to move forward, and probably a second phase of a debt ceiling plan that will be put into place sometime down the road.
We've got a couple of viewer questions that I'd like to get to real quickly. First from Drew. He writes in, before the default takes all the value from our 401ks, are we better off just selling out now and taking the tax hit, or letting them plunge 70% in value, taking years to rebound? I'm guessing from what you just said you would just let them stay there, but there's some little caveat to that, right?
Sure. You know, 70% is that would be a disastrous scenario. That's probably a default situation, which we don't expect. And by the way, anyone who has a 401k really has the opportunity, in most cases, to move to cash. So if he's really that nervous, he can move to cash. We would not advise that. It's not a good plan, because if there is resolution in Washington, as we anticipate, the markets might even rally.
Next from Abby. She writes in, what do you say to us 20 and 30-somethings? Roth investment or traditional investment vehicles?
Well, first of all, we'd say to Abby, very good that you're thinking about that those that are in their 20s and 30s that invest now can save significant amounts of money before their retirement. Whether they should do a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA is really up to their own personal situation. However, we like the idea of them saving taxes today and getting the tax deduction, and then building those dollars in a tax-deferred environment, ultimately paying taxes. But that's so far away, so far into the future, we don't know what the tax rates will be, so it's probably better to take those tax deductions now.
Peter, appreciate the advice and tips. Always good to see you.
Thank you.